MAGA Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House, knows his end is near. Desperate, crashing, panicking, it is all collapsing around MAGA Mike. He held a disastrous press conference yesterday where he said, everybody, we need your help. We're in a constitutional crisis right now. And according to MAGA Mike, who knows he's about to lose his job, he goes, the constitutional crisis is that the Democrats keep opposing Donald Trump. Why doesn't everybody do what I do? MAGA Mike says, just go along with Donald Trump. If Donald Trump wants to nominate Bill Pulte to become the director of national intelligence, despite having no intelligence background, despite being a Trump sycophant who weaponized Fannie and Freddie in order to go after Donald Trump's political opponents by making criminal referrals about people's mortgages. This trust fund kid who would throw these disgusting events when he was a private citizen. I've showed videos of it. I don't even need to go into it anymore. Why is there a constitutional crisis? MAGA Mike says, Democrats, just go along with Donald Trump. Here's what MAGA Mike just said at a press conference. Here, play this clip.
A constitutional crisis, really, in one sense, because when you have a party whose sole objective every day is to stop the president, wreck the administration, make his life miserable, not go along with any of his appointments or any of his agenda, it creates a real crisis for the American people.
And then MAGA Mike says, you know what the problem with the Democrats is? If Donald Trump nominated Jesus himself, if Trump nominated Jesus, the Democrats would not confirm Jesus. Hey, MAGA Mike, what are you even talking about? Nominating Jesus? He's nominating crooks. He's nominating the most corrupt people. He's nominating disgusting people. He's nominating people who are part of the Epstein class. He's nominating his own criminal defense lawyer. In my opinion, his nominees are all of those things and more. What are your opinions here? This is what MAGA Mike has to say. Play this clip.
Democrats wouldn't trust Jesus.
He hasn't been nominated.
There's not a single person. He hasn't been nominated.
But I mean, how do you handle this if you can't have Democratic votes?
They're playing political games, Jake. The Democrats are not willing to do anything, even the most simple, basic, important responsibility to keep the American people safe.
Now, in zooming in on MAGA Mike's press conference, do you see what's on the right of him right here? I had to zoom in because this is the signage by MAGA Mike and the MAGA Republicans during this press conference. It says, Republicans are cutting your taxes. Democrats were transing the mice with $8.2 million of your $8.2 million in your tax dollars. They're saying that Democrats are turning mice into transgender people and Republicans are making your life so much better. By the way, to everybody watching this, how much better is your life right now? Are you in the golden age? Are you living the best life that Donald Trump and MAGA promised you? Are your electricity bills down 50% like they said? Is your gas down 50%? Are your groceries down 50% and everything so much more affordable? Of course not. That's a rhetorical question, but this is what they're posting right here. As we wrote on the MeidasTouch account, Republicans are standing next to signs saying that Democrats were transing the mice because they don't want people to realize they're talking about transgenic mice, genetically modified mice used in life-saving medical research on cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, and neurological disorders. People could die because Republicans saw that important medical research has the word trans in it. And this is who the MAGA Republicans are. Oh, Tallarico is trans. He's six genders, because they don't know the word cisgender. He's six genders. By the way, if he was trans, if he was gay, he's a human being, damn it. Treat him with respect. He isn't have any of those things. He's a straight guy, 9th generation Texan who eats barbecue. And MAGA Mike of all people, you're the definition of alpha. These are the most pathetic, weak humans in the MAGA party. And it's just weird. Transgenic mice is transgender mice. That's what you're talking about while the American people are suffering. This is how you know how desperate MAGA Mike is. And he knows he's going to lose his job soon. Then MAGA Mike goes, but here's what I want you to know, everybody. Donald Trump is more dialed in on domestic issues than any president in history. He's dialed in and ready to go. Here, play this clip.
So unfair. This president is more laser focused and more dialed in on domestic issues here in the homeland than any president in memory. He spends more time working on domestic issues in one day than Joe Biden did in 4. That is an objective fact. This president's dialed in. He talks to y'all.
Sure, MAGA Mike. That's the guy who we see constantly falling asleep. The guy who we see unable to make a deal if his life depended on it. The guy who's, I did a deal, I did not deal. I spoke with the gay Ayatollah. I spoke to Hezbollah. Dialed in, MAGA Mike. Yeah. The guy who promised he was going to reduce gas prices on day one and end the war in Ukraine from Russia. And he was going to make everything better. Dialed in, MAGA Mike. Anyway. So then a CBS reporter asked MAGA Mike, what about Tom Kean Jr., this New Jersey congressman who's just disappeared? He hasn't been to his congressional district for like months, 100. He's missed more than 100 votes since early March. No one knows where the guy is. That's kind of weird, right? MAGA Mike, he doesn't want to address his constituents. MAGA Mike's like, there's nothing untoward about that. Perfectly normal behavior. Here's what MAGA Mike says.
Your colleague, Tom Kean from New Jersey, hasn't voted in 3 months. He hasn't been seen in 3 months. He says he is dealing with a personal medical issue and has repeatedly said he'll return soon. How is it acceptable that a member of Congress can be missing without explaining to constituents what exactly is going on? Does he need to be more forthcoming? And how is that acceptable?
I talked to Tom a couple of days ago, maybe Friday or Saturday. He's in good spirits, but as his public statement that went out yesterday explained, he's dealing with a health issue. He's under the care of healthcare providers, and they've told him he needs a little bit longer to recover. Now, that's all I can say. That's all he said. It's not a scandalous thing at all. People deal with health issues. Maybe that's a news flash for you, but even members of Congress get sick as well, right? He's dealing with that right now. Tom Kean is an extraordinary member of Congress. He has delivered for the people of New Jersey. He ran without opposition in the primary yesterday, and he deserved to because he has been a phenomenal member of Congress and a great member of our team here. He comes from a long legacy of public service in his family. As you know, he's a famous family. He is going to be back. He'll be back. He's working remotely right now, as he explained in his statement yesterday, and he's anxious to come back in person and be here voting every single day. So I'm going to let him address the rest of it. People are entitled to get sick. This happens. And that's the most we can say about it. He's going to give full transparency and full explanation when he gets back, and I'm encouraging him to do that.
Ever wake up sweaty, freezing, or just uncomfortable? The temperature in your bedroom can make or break your sleep. That's why I switched to Miracle Made sheets. They're inspired by NASA technology and use silver-infused temperature-regulating fabric to help you sleep perfectly all night long. Here's the thing, thanks to their antibacterial silver technology, Miracle Made sheets stay cleaner and fresher up to 3 times longer than regular sheets. That means fewer odors, fewer wash cycles, and way less laundry. All that hidden bacteria in regular sheets, it can clog your pores and cause breakouts. Miracle Made's antibacterial design helps you sleep cleaner and clearer night after night. And they feel just as good, if not better, than sheets you'd find at a 5-star hotel, but without that steep price tag. Smooth, breathable, and ridiculously comfortable. Miracle Made sheets are crafted with NASA-inspired silver-infused fabric that helps regulate your body temperature. Hot sleeper, cold sleeper, it doesn't matter. These sheets help keep you in the comfort zone all night long. Upgrade your sleep or give the gift of better rest. Go to trymiracle.com/Meidas to try Miracle Made sheets today. You'll save over 40%, and when you use promo code Meidas, you'll get an extra 20% off plus a free 3-piece towel set. They make an amazing gift, and with a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk. That's trymiracle.com/Meidas, code Meidas at checkout. Thanks to Miracle Made for sponsoring this episode.
And then State Regime Media posted through Jesse Waters, one of their chief propagandists. Breaking. Congress just voted to end the Iran war. 4 Republicans betrayed the party. Our reporting yesterday. Did you see the video I made? How on a semi-bipartisan basis. I mean, 4 Republicans joined the Democrats to pass a war powers resolution in the House of Representatives declaring Donald Trump's war in Iran unlawful without congressional authorization. So the House passed a war powers authorization to block Trump's war in Iran. The Senate previously passed a procedural vote to then vote on a war powers resolution. So the Senate would need to pass the actual war powers resolution. They passed the procedural vote. Then it would go to Donald Trump's desk. He's likely going to veto a war powers resolution, but it will send a powerful message, at least, that both chambers deem and declare his catastrophic and unlawful war in Iran just that, catastrophic and unlawful. And so MAGA Mike was scurrying through the halls of Congress yesterday as he was being asked about, why aren't you asserting your authority under the war powers, constitutional authority of Congress? Why are you letting Donald Trump just break the law and just go and do never-ending wars without going to Congress at all? You know, that's unlawful, MAGA Mike. And MAGA Mike's like, no, why? He's negotiating. Why would we get involved in the negotiations? He's not negotiating. He's a deranged, demented, psychotic lunatic who is scared. He's weak. And he just lies constantly about it. There's nothing normal about his behavior. We just need a grown-up who can just get us the hell out of there and make a damn decision, because this loser who's committing all of these war crimes, who got us into this unlawful war, has no clue what the hell he's actually doing. But here's what MAGA Mike says. Let's play this clip.
Do you not support giving Congress a check on the president's authority here? It's been 95 days since this war began.
I think it is a very dangerous prospect to take away from the administration and the commander-in-chief right now the ability to negotiate. That's what this does. It weakens us, our position and our leverage in negotiation on the peace in that situation. Operation Epic Fury is concluded.
Shouldn't you guys have a check on it? Why doesn't Congress assert its authority here? Its constitutional authority.
This question could have been asked at any time over the last half century when Congress has not passed war powers acts, when presidents like, Barack Obama were dropping bombs and missiles all around the world.
AUMFs for Iraq and Afghanistan?
This operation was immensely successful. The objectives that were well-defined were achieved. The president is now in the process of concluding a peace agreement, and we have to allow him the latitude to do that. And I think a war powers resolution right now is very untimely and a very negative and dangerous thing for the country.
Can you tell us about your meeting with Sam Altman?
So then a reporter asks MAGA Mike and say, MAGA Mike, all right, let's get back to it. So you said you think the Democrats wouldn't appoint Jesus. Okay, well, that's weird. But Bill Pulte is who Donald Trump wants to appoint to the office of the Director of National Intelligence. The DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, someone who will have access to the most highly classified information, the most sensitive information. And Trump wants this guy appointed. He's going to be the acting DNI, meaning even before he goes through Senate confirmation, which he'll never get confirmed by the Senate, now he has access to all of this sensitive data that could become a national security threat, giving this guy classified information. And so Democrats are saying, look, we should withhold any support under FISA. To begin with, if you're going to push Pulte, Democrats say we're not supporting any extension of FISA, because the FISA reauthorization, Democrats say you can make the argument that that's, I don't necessarily agree with this, but this poses a national security threat if we don't reauthorize FISA. I don't think so. But I think there should be warrants. There needs to be warrants when people, if there's any types of search and seizures. But giving Pulte this information is dangerous, is really dangerous. It's fatal. Listen to what MAGA Mike says. Play this clip.
So here's the thing. The president obviously has the prerogative and the choice on who he appoints to these positions. And this would be an interim appointment. What I would tell you about, I'm glad you brought up FISA, because I think what's absolutely outrageous about this whole thing is that Democrats in the Senate, and I guess in the House as well, are now suggesting that they would allow FISA, they would withhold their votes on FISA's reauthorization, which expires next week. The statute will expire, as you know. They withhold their votes because of an interim appointment that is the president's choice to do. That is absolutely outrageous. Every one of you should be following them around with microphones and challenging them on that, because FISA Section 702 is responsible for approximately two-thirds of the President of the United States' daily national security briefing comes from the collection of intelligence through this statute. We enacted it in Congress after 9/11. The reason we haven't had another 9/11 on our shores is because we have this critically important national security tool. It is the most important intelligence tool that we have. The idea that they would try to play politics right now because they don't like the president's choice of an appointment is absolutely stunning to me. But it shows to you one more time, as we say here weekly, this is not your father's Democrat Party. These are not reasonable leaders over here, okay? They will use pain for the American people for political purposes. And this is the latest example of it. I think it's absolutely outrageous.
Then I'll just show you there. You've got Tom Tillis, a MAGA Republican senator, joining with Democrats and saying, when it comes to this Bill Pulte, this Trump sycophant. And that's what Tom Tillis, Republican from North Carolina, says. He goes, he's the worst kind of Trump sycophant that there is. Unqualified, dangerous. Here, play this clip.
I think he's the worst form of sycophant and advisor to the president that is going to hurt the president's legacy.
Any issue that Bill Pulte is acting DNI?
Don't know much about his background. I'm waiting on the administration to explain to us credentials.
Bill Pulte, are you planning on trying to scuttle FISA over Pulte's appointment?
Section 702 is the most important tool we have to protect our country. But I wonder, does the president want to kill Section 702? I've yet to talk to a Republican that doesn't think this is an outrageous choice. Is anybody going to tell the emperor in the White House that he has no clothes on this one?
And then when it comes to health care and the cost of health care, Donald Trump promised to make health care very cheap. Trump goes and lies and goes, we have most favored nations provision right now in pharmaceuticals. So the pharmaceuticals that you buy at home are as cheap as the cheapest price of a drug anywhere in the world. He uses the term most favored nations because he thinks a lot of people don't know what that means. But if you had what's called a most favored nations provision in a contract, it would mean that your provision is always just as good as the best provision out there. So when Trump says we've got most favored nations on pharmaceutical drugs, what he's saying is, and it's a lie, that you can buy your pharmaceutical drugs as cheap as that pharmaceutical company sells to another country that same price. So if it's $1 in Canada, it should be $1 in the United States. If it's 50 cents in Sweden, it's 50 cents in the United States. You know, that's completely false. And Bill Cassidy, who Donald Trump helped primary against Bill Cassidy, this Republican, and now Cassidy is out of a job. He's still in the Senate for a little bit until his term's over, but he lost his primary. He yelled at Donald Trump on the Senate floor yesterday. Here's what he said. Play this clip.
Mr. President Trump, get engaged! Mr. President, too many people have this debt, $10,000 on their credit card related to paying in part for things such as medical expenses, and they are going down.
And then Donald Trump finished the night by saying he was going to now officially nominate as his attorney general Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche right now is the acting attorney general. Donald Trump says he's going to have Todd Blanche be nominated to be the attorney general, meaning Senate confirmation. He ain't going to get confirmed by the Senate, but Trump's like, the Senate will confirm him very, very easily. No, they're not going to confirm him easily. And I'd love to see that confirmation hearing, by the way. Here, play this clip.
He's acting attorney general. And tomorrow I'm instructing Dan and everybody else that's involved in that very complicated process, which is going to go, I think, very quickly. that we are going to make him permanent Attorney General.
And then Dan Scavino, Donald Trump's, I don't know what this guy's position was, used to be caddy and social media guy. I don't even know. He now deputy chief of staff or something. He's the top person in the Trump administration. He says, and take a look, everybody, at this UFC ring. We're going to have this UFC stadium at the White House forever. And isn't that going to make the libs angry? Aren't the libs going to be angry when we keep... No one cares, dude. You're not going to make anybody angry. We're angry because you've destroyed the lives of so many Americans, and you've ripped away their health care, and you've destroyed their future and their children's future, and you've destroyed their jobs, and you made things unaffordable, and they can't afford rent. That's what people are saying. It's weird. I mean, it's deranged that your priorities are UFC rings and golden arches and golden ballrooms and reflecting pools and taking over the DC golf courses and crypto deals with the Middle East countries. I mean, your behavior, it's deranged behavior. And I think a lot of the behavior can be considered, in my opinion, can be considered criminal. But I care about, you triggering libs or making people angry. Who cares? I mean, I care that my fellow Americans are suffering and people in the world are suffering because of your actions. But here's what he says. Let's play this clip.
UFC next week. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? He's thinking of keeping that. I don't know if you saw the video. We'll see where that lands. I'm sure no hits will explode on that one.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think about all of this. How desperate does MAGA Mike look? Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million. Thanks for watching. Let's try to get to 7 million, y'all. New Meidas merch. Head to store.MeidasTouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.